The Dunning-Kruger effect is like a beginner thinking they're a pro, while the real pro wonders if they're good enough. It shows why sometimes the less you know, the more confident you feel. Confirmation bias is like wearing glasses that only let you see what you already believe. It's when we only notice the clues that prove we're right, ignoring anything that might prove us wrong. It's like giving a thumbs up to everything you agree with and putting on blinders for everything else. The halo effect is like spotting someone with superhero charisma and instantly deciding they're a wizard at everything. It's the brain's way of saying, look, a star must be good at life. The Stanford prison experiment was a shocking game of pretend prison that spiraled out of control, revealing how roles and power can drastically change our behavior, turning ordinary students into harsh guards or helpless prisoners overnight. The Milgram experiment proved we're wired to follow orders, showing people zapping others just because a scientist said so, turning ordinary folks into surprising rule followers. The bystander effect is like watching a spill in a busy hallway, thinking, surely someone else will clean it up. It's a social glitch where the more people around, the more we freeze, assuming someone else will jump into the hero's boots. Cognitive dissonance is the mental gymnastics you do when trying to justify binge-watching your favorite show on a work night, telling yourself you'll wake up early instead. It's the inner squabble when your heart says chocolate cake, but your brain says salad. It's the mind's quirky dance of juggling opposites, leaving you tiptoeing on the tightrope of your own contradictions. The Rosenthal effect is like a secret spell that transforms underdogs into champions. When we expect greatness, it's like whispering to plants to grow taller, and surprisingly they listen. It's the psychological nudge that turns "I think I can" into "I knew I could." Imposter syndrome is like being a secret agent in your own life, where you're convinced your cool spy gadgets are just toys and everyone else's are real. Despite pulling off mission after mission, you're always worried someone will whisper, "Hey, this one's not one of us." It's the mental mix-up of feeling like a wolf in sheep's clothing, even when you're actually leading the pack. The mere exposure effect is your brain playing matchmaker with the familiar, turning "seen it again" into "can't get enough." It's like a secret handshake between you and the everyday, where repetition whispers, "Let's be more than friends." The fundamental attribution error is like seeing someone trip over a banana peel and thinking, "clumsy," instead of, "Who left that peel there?" It's our brain's blooper reel, casting people as the villains in their own slapstick comedy, without checking who set the scene with the peel. Hindsight bias is like watching a movie's twist ending and thinking, "I totally saw that coming," even if you were clueless midway. It's our mind's trick of rewriting our predictions after the facts are in, making us believe we were future seers all along. Anchoring bias is like seeing a $100 price tag and then feeling a $70 sale is a bargain, even without knowing the shirt's real value. It's our mind's trick of letting the first number set the stage, influencing all our decisions that follow. Social loafing is like being on a group project where everyone's rowing a boat, but you secretly take it easy, thinking, "Others have got this." It's the sneaky urge to slack off because you believe your effort gets lost in the crowd, turning teamwork into team shirk. Self-serving bias is when we ace a test and think, "I'm a genius," but fail one and blame the noisy classroom. It's taking bows for wins and pointing fingers for losses. The Forer effect is like getting a fortune cookie that says, "You're both outgoing and introverted," and thinking, "That's exactly me." It's our knack for seeing ourselves in vague, one-size-fits-all descriptions, making us feel uniquely understood by the most generic statements. The Hawthorne effect is like suddenly becoming a neat freak when you know someone's watching. It's our quirky habit of stepping up our game under the spotlight, proving we're all a bit of a show-off when eyes are on us. The placebo effect is mind over matter, feeling better from a magic pill that's really just sugar because you believe it works. It's the body's own trick healing through pure belief. The Zeigarnik effect is like your brain's nagging reminder of a half-puzzled jigsaw. It keeps the unfinished tasks shining under a spotlight, while the completed ones fade into the background. It's the mental equivalent of cliffhangers keeping you hooked, wondering what's next. The sunk cost fallacy is like eating a bad meal just because you paid a lot for it. It's the trap of thinking, I've come this far, might as well keep going, even if it's leading nowhere good. It's why we finish movies we don't like, keep clothes we never wear, and stick with projects long past their expiration date. Because giving up feels like wasting all that time, money, or effort we've already put in. The availability heuristic is like your brain picking the first Google search result without scrolling down. It jumps to conclusions based on the easiest examples that come to mind, whether they're the whole story or just the most memorable snippets. The bandwagon effect is like following the crowd into a concert you've never heard of, because if everyone's going, it must be the hit of the season. It's our inner urge to blend in and ride the wave of what's trending, no questions asked. The Ebbinghaus forgetting curve is like your brain's Snapchat, where memories come with an expiration date. Without constant updates, aka revising, information fades away, slipping through your mind's fingers like sand. It's the mental equivalent of use it or lose it, proving that if you don't refresh your memory, it's set to vanish like stories into the digital ether. The serial position effect is like your playlist shuffle, nailing the first and last tracks but muffling the middle. It's our brain's way of spotlighting the opener and closer of any list, turning the midsection into a forgettable blur. The spotlight effect is like feeling you're under a magnifying glass in a crowd, where you think everyone is zooming in on your every blip, when in reality, they're probably scrolling through their own drama. It's the brain's own blooper reel, playing on loop, convincing you you're the star of the show nobody's actually watching. The false consensus effect is like believing your favorite song is everyone's playlist top hit, because if you're jamming, surely the world is too. It's the mind's trick of mistaking personal preferences for universal truths. A self-fulfilling prophecy is like telling yourself you're going to trip before a race, and then, sure enough, you stumble out of the starting block. It's when our beliefs and expectations shape our actions in a way that makes those beliefs come true. Think of it as mental magic. Convince yourself you'll ace an interview, and your confidence might just win you the job. It shows how powerful our minds are in scripting our own realities, often without us even realizing it. The optimism bias is like betting on sunshine in a storm, convinced your picnic won't get rained out. It's our inner optimist, always whispering, it'll work out better for me, even when the odds are flipping coins. Negativity bias is like a mental magnet for bad news over good. It's why a single negative comment can overshadow a dozen compliments, turning a tiny cloud into a storm in our mind's sky. This bias means we're wired to pay more attention to the thorns than the roses, making us remember the one rainy day in a week of sunshine. It's our brain's way of sticking to the shadows, thinking it's keeping us safe, but sometimes it just dims our view of the light. The decoy effect is the mind's magic trick, making the expensive choice look like a bargain by adding a not-so-great third option to the mix. It's like choosing the best donut by adding a slightly stale one to the lineup. Suddenly, the deluxe donut seems like a delicious deal. The IKEA effect is like applauding your own off-key karaoke. It's the love affair with anything we cobble together ourselves, from wonky shelves to peculiar pasta dishes. Our creations, flawed masterpieces. Our judgment, blissfully biased.